Hi, I'm Maria. I'm known as Velosos on social media, and this is my sewing room. So welcome to Velosos Studio. Today I'll give you an update on the Bangkok trip that was arranged by Karen and her daughter-in-law Jane. The whole premise of the trip was for a bunch of us who sew to explore Bangkok and also buy fabric and notions. And it was great that both Jane and Karen had organised everything for us. We just had to make sure that we had the energy and the energy, and also making sure that, if we were tired, we went back to the hotel. If we had more energy, we could stay and do whatever and then come back later. So the whole trip started as an idea or a comment at lunch when Karen, Julie and Marg came to Sydney, and I met them at Central Station and we went to Greenfields, which is where you can get a whole lot of sewing notions and fabric. So we had a really good morning and we're talking over lunch, and it was Karen's idea. She wanted to share Bangkok with her sewing friends, and so we thought, yeah, why not? If you organise it, we'll come, we'll help you out. When the message came, I had to think about it because we'd just come back from overseas, and I thought, I really want to go. So I ended up finding out what flight they were on, and I made sure that I booked myself on the flight. I booked economy, and thankfully on the leg to and from Bangkok, I had the row to myself. So on the way back, I got a really good sleep because I really needed it. And that's another part of another story. Karen had arranged for us to stay in a classic hotel in Chinatown near China World in Bangkok. All the transfers, all the food, all the places that we visited were places that both Jane and Karen had arranged for us. So there were markets, there was a temple, we went to the palace, we went to the museum where the late Queen's clothes are. So we got a really good look at those. So I'm going to show you a couple of pieces that I bought, which I probably couldn't have bought here in Australia for two reasons. One, probably the cost and the availability. So the first one is this embroidered piece here. This had a few different colorways that we saw. And what I like about it is it's embroidered, totally embroidered. The thing with embroidered fabric though is usually there are holes. This doesn't have holes. It seems to be on a cotton base. I haven't done the burn test yet. And I would say that the threads that are used in the embroidery, they could be a poly mix. Anyway, I really like the colors that are used here. So I think I probably paid like $9 a meter for this fabric. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I really like it. Then I saw this linen, and I probably bought about 35 meters of fabric, and the average price was between $4 to $12 a meter. All of the fabric places in China World have a retail and a wholesale aspect to their stores. There's four floors, and they do retail and wholesale. So when we turned up, most days they were really nice to us because they knew that once we did show and tell in the afternoon, it was like, oh, where did you get that from? And oh, that looks really good. And we were sharing ideas of what to do with the fabric. So this one is Milton linen in a color that I wouldn't be able to find here. The retail price of linens of this weight, it's between a light and medium weight linen. So I probably could use this for trousers, but realistically I won't. The price for linen here in Australia, you're looking from about $35 to $50 a meter. And I only paid a fraction of that cost for this. So yes, I bought a significant amount of linens and also cotton, quite a few embroidered fabrics because I love embroidered fabrics. They give you another element to play with. So we went to the flower markets, We had an afternoon boat ride on a small boat, which was really amazing, along the river. On the Sunday, we did some weaving at Loom. We visited the Jim Thompson house, had some really unique dinners. We even had a dinner on the streets of Chinatown. It was an amazing seafood restaurant. And I think we only got a couple of photos because the food was coming out. There was a high turnover of people. The tables were being worked. Staff were bringing the food out, clearing the tables. There was a bucket under the tables, various buckets, so that you could put in the prawn shells or shells of any other seafood. And it was really full on and so much fun, especially at night. I felt quite safe walking around Chinatown, walking around Bangkok. We got to ride in tuk-tuks that you would normally do. And so really it was a memorable, engaging, inspiring, a unique holiday. So as a comparison, when I travel normally with my husband, I try and find places that have fabric or textiles museums. And in all honesty, I probably only spend no more than half an hour in any store. Because we were all there and we all love to sew our own clothes, we like to touch fabric. We basically spent most days talking about fabric, looking at fabric. There was a haberdashery lane. Honestly, I think I probably went there 3 times. This was a really unique holiday that Karen and Jayne organised for us, and I have to say thank you all for everything that they did. And it was really nice to be amongst friends who have the same interests. And we did some local things, but in the main it was all about fabric notions and encouraging each other. I think a lot of people would expect that if you go to Bangkok and you're looking at fabric, you would buy silk. Because I have been cleaning up my sewing room for months now, and there's still more to do, I already knew that in my everyday life, I don't really wear silk, and I didn't have the ability to test the silk that was on sale. So for those 2 particular reasons, I basically stuck to sourcing linen fabric in colours that I would wear. Same with cotton. There's a few stripes that I bought, some embellished fabrics, and I was just as encouraging to everyone else in the group to buy the fabric that they saw that others had bought. I just want to say again, thank you to Karen and Jayne for organising the trip. Thank you to Karen for taking on the idea and making it real. I had a ball, and if anyone has any questions about where they should go, if they've got a bit of time to find fabric, I would suggest going to China World. I also suggest going to the Indian Emporium. Whether it's in the Emporium itself or the shops around the Emporium, you'll find a lot of unique fabrics. And if you're into embroidered fabrics, it's the place to go to. So from me, thank you for visiting my sewing room again, for listening to all of the things that we got up to while we were in Bangkok fabric shopping and buying notions. And I hope to see you again. Cheers.